Welcome back to Reds Fusion LFC, your ultimate home for everything Liverpool FC. Today we've got massive news straight from Anfield. Virgil van Dijk hails two outstanding Reds after that huge win over Real Madrid. Arne Slot's dressing room secrets are out, and the $450 million Liverpool masterplan is officially taking off. Plus, Wenger's bold claim about the 116 members Florian Wirtz signing will blow your mind. Stay tuned, this one's pure fire, Reds. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with every twist and turn in the transfer window. Virgil van Dijk salutes outstanding Liverpool pair versus Real Madrid as Man City trip looms. Virgil van Dijk heaps praise on Dominic Szoboszlai and Conor Bradley after Liverpool beat Real Madrid 1-0 in the Champions League. Virgil van Dijk saluted in form Dominic Szoboszlai for the incredible energy he brings to the team as the Liverpool captain challenged the Hungary international to now maintain his consistency. Hungary skipper Szoboszlai has become an integral figure for Arne Slot and has arguably been one of the standout performers so far this season at Anfield. The Nomad 8 again caught the eye as the Premier League champions beat Real Madrid 1-0 in the Champions League on Tuesday evening, and it was his delivery which opened up the visitors for Alexis Mac Allister to head home the winner in the second half. The versatile Szoboszlai has played in 3 different roles already this term, filling in as a makeshift right-back while also operating in deeper and more advanced midfield positions, and Van Dijk has been impressed with the former RB Leipzig man, insisting he must now keep up this level with Manchester City up next at the Etihad on Sunday. "What you see is what you get from Dom," Van Dijk said. "He is very important. The energy he brings on the pitch is incredible. The quality that he has is outstanding, and like you said, he is learning each and every game, and he is developing into the player we all feel like he could be. He is already showing that for the country he is playing for, and it is about keeping on doing it for the rest of the season. So far, he has had a great start to the season, and he has to keep going. Keep your head down and keep performing. It was a good game, a lot of hard work, good opportunities. Defensively, we were very solid, and a great win. That's it." After the first half against Palace in the league, it was quite low as well, but we all know that you get an opportunity every 3 or 4 days to turn it around, and we won tonight. It was a good performance, and now we have to focus on Man City. It will be a similar game as tonight a little bit. We are facing a very in-form team like today and a striker, like today, who was in form. When that happens, you have to be spot on, and I think we showed we were good as a team defensively. We created good opportunities, and they had a goalkeeper, Thibaut Courtois, that saved them a couple of times. Van Dijk also reserved a word of praise for Conor Bradley, who was excellent on the night to help keep Brazil international Vinicius Jr. quiet throughout. "Conor was very good," he added. "Outstanding. Last year he got injured in this game, but today he held his own against one of the best wingers in recent times. So he was outstanding. For everyone, that is the challenge. The intensity of the games is incredible, so you have to look after yourself, and now he obviously played 2 good games, like the rest of the team, and now it is recovery and on to the next one." Liverpool $450 million master plan gets liftoff as Real Madrid grateful for UEFA ban. The Paul Gorst verdict on a night to remember at Anfield as Liverpool beat Real Madrid 1-0 in the Champions League. He cold, soulless facts will say Liverpool are now up to 6th in the group stage of the Champions League after this 1-0 win over Real Madrid. The reality, however, is that another triumph over the 15-time champions of Europe at Anfield might just have finally given liftoff to a new era under Arne Slot. The first 2.5 months of this campaign have not gone exactly to the plan. After a historic summer transfer window where close to $450 million was forked out and around half of that was recouped, the glossy brochure that had Slot's Premier League champions as the all-conquering unbeatables has not quite looked like that in reality. It's been tough, and even when games have been won, late goals have been needed too often, and games have not been controlled in the manner that became so routine last year, en route to league title, number 20, 6 defeats in 7 prior to Saturday's much-needed 2-0 win over Aston Villa was indicative of a team struggling to find their groove amid the unusually high volume of turnover in the playing staff. But having taken an encouraging step towards the light at the end of the tunnel against Villa, the Reds took a quantum leap here as Los Blancos were dispatched from Merseyside with nothing to show for their efforts for a second Champions League season running. The rule that forbids the same fixture being played 3 seasons running will be a welcome and much-needed reprieve for Madrid, one suspects. They won't want to return to Anfield in a hurry, that much is certain. But it was not the fact that Alexis Mac Allister's header was the difference between the teams here. The aspect that will have Liverpool bouncing into Sunday's trip to Manchester City was just how much their performance merited the victory. Xabi Alonso is an Anfield legend for his exploits as a player, but he is still a relatively young coach. And he was outfoxed on the night by Slot, who got his team selection absolutely spot on. The decision to bring in Florian Wirtz for Cody Gakpo was inspired. The Germany international was perpetual motion, running over 11 kilometers to keep Madrid at bay while also supplying a number of dangerous passes. One in particular that should have been gobbled up by Dominik Szoboszlai, who was otherwise faultless once more. Hungary captain Szoboszlai is in sensational form right now, but this was an enormous evening in the fledgling Reds' career of Wirtz also. He has been signed with a view to winning the Champions League, and the different style of football in this competition plays to his strengths. He was excellent. An absorbing first period of high-grade football came and went in a blink, with Liverpool having the Lions' share of the chances. Thibaut Courtois, the scourge of the 2022 final, denied Szoboszlai a couple of times before Mac Allister was also kept at bay on the cusp of half-time. The biggest flashpoint was reserved for a monitor check when Aurelien Tchouameni was judged to have handled a shot outside the area. Initially, referee Istvan Kovac awarded a free kick on the edge of the box before being asked to look at the screen. Rather than award a spot kick, however, Kovac went the other way and decided his initial call of handball was in fact incorrect, awarding a drop ball instead. The Reds were scorned by the controversial call and used it in a positive manner, ending the half the stronger of the two, full of energy and determination to make the breakthrough. Georgi Mamardashvili was a virtual spectator, save for one important stop to keep out Jude Bellingham, who had wriggled free of Ibrahima Konate. Alexis Mac Allister's verdict on Real Madrid win speaks volumes about champions. League format Liverpool finished top of last season's first phase standings, but were then drawn to face Paris Saint-Germain in the round of 16 and were eliminated by the eventual champions in many ways. It was another memorable European night at Anfield. Arne Slot's side were back to their thrilling best. Trent Alexander-Arnold was reminded that fans' loyalty is to the club and not to players. And there were some landmark individual performances, not least from Connor Bradley. But in other ways, Liverpool's excellent win will be unmemorable. In this season's Champions League grand scheme, it will mean little. This format, in its second season, guarantees that. As irresistible as Liverpool were against Real Madrid, the attempts at resistance from the Spanish giants were not overly intense. They already had 3 wins under their belt, and qualification for at least the knockout playoff stage is a formality. That is despite a second successive defeat on Merseyside. Real Madrid have 4 fixtures left, away at Olympiacos and Benfica, home to Monaco and Manchester City, and a couple of points should guarantee they are not eliminated after the qualification stages. In an ideal world, they would want to finish in the top 8 and avoid that 2-legged playoff game in February, but it is not the end of the world if they do not. Liverpool finished top of the standings last season, but then copped for Paris Saint-Germain in the round of 16 and went out. Paris Saint-Germain became champions even though they lost 3 times in this stage of the competition. That scenario will give Slot food for thought when it comes to squad rotation in the later stages of this first phase of Champions League competition. Slot and Liverpool pretty much went full tilt for all but the final game of the 8-match preliminaries last season, but this time around, the manager might have a rethink. A win against PSV at Anfield towards the end of this month would give Liverpool 12 points from 5 matches, and all but certain to at least be in the knockout phase playoffs. That might tempt Slot to rest a few key players over the remaining 3 Champions League qualifiers. Again, finishing in the top 8 and getting an automatic spot in the round of 16 would seem to be the best situation, but of the teams that finished in those positions last season, 4 were eliminated in their next tie. It will be a balancing act for Slot and the head coaches of Europe's elite clubs, who will all avoid elimination after this Swiss model stage, but they will have learned from last season. The scramble for a top-right finish will not be as intense, and there will be plenty of matches in which the traditional powerhouses field weakened teams. Arsène Wenger says Liverpool destroyed their midfield with 116 millimeters Florian Wirtz signing. Liverpool spent big to land Florian Wirtz in the summer, but he struggled to make an impact, and Arsène Wenger has hammered the way they've used the German. Playmaker Arsène Wenger has claimed that Liverpool destroyed their midfield when they chose to deploy Florian Wirtz as their No. 10, with the German's struggles well documented since his British record move in the summer. The Reds forked out $116 million to land the playmaker from Bayer Leverkusen, where his stock was sky high. It was the highest fee paid by a British team until Liverpool outdid themselves weeks later by signing Alexander Isak. Despite Wirtz's impressive reputation, he's been unable to deliver thus far. Deployed as their chief playmaker, the 22-year-old is yet to come up with a goal or an assist in his 10 Premier League outings. During Liverpool's poor run of results, Arne Slot has been accused of upsetting the balance of the team with his summer spending spree. Wirtz was ultimately played in a wider role as the Reds beat Real Madrid on Tuesday night, but Wenger claims they made a blunder by telling him he would play as a 10, which it has ultimately worked against the dynamic of their midfield. He told beIN Sports before the real clash. Liverpool is an interesting example. When Wirtz had the choice between going to Bayern Munich or Liverpool, he said to Liverpool, "I come to you if I play No. 10. I do not want to play wide." Liverpool, to get him, they say okay. They started him and they destroyed their midfield, which was Ryan Gravenberch, Alexis Mac Allister, Dominik Szoboszlai. To play Wirtz, they took Szoboszlai out. What have they done against Aston Villa? They have gone back to their midfield of last year, and tonight they play Wirtz, but I'm sure that Wirtz will play on the side. The manager has said, "If you want to play again, you will have to play wide because I do not want to disturb the midfield." That will be interesting to see tonight. Wirtz is back in the team, but certainly will have to play left where he was when he played at Leverkusen. In order to fit Wirtz in the starting lineup, Szoboszlai has had to shift out to right back, where he has impressed, but is ultimately a makeshift player in that position. Liverpool have just won successive games for the first time late September after beating Real and Aston Villa. The raft of quality players in their squad has created a number of headaches. Their record signing Isak cost them 125 millimeters and is now competing with Hugo Ekitike. The Frenchman has been the most successful of Liverpool's summer recruits, costing 79 millimeters, but he and Isak are both most effective as No. 9s. The Swede is currently out through injury, allowing Ekitike to lead the line, but is expected to return this weekend when the debate will likely return. Arne Slot shares what Liverpool's dressing room really think about Jamie Carragher. Jamie Carragher was on punditry duty for CBS Sports as Liverpool beat Real Madrid 1-0 in the Champions League with Arne Slot and Dominik Szoboszlai then both. Speaking about him, Arne Slot could not help but take a playful jab at Liverpool legend Jamie Carragher following their 1-0 victory over Real Madrid. That's as the Dutch head coach shared the dressing room's thoughts on the former defender. Slot teased Carragher about his lack of Premier League titles during his own playing days. Dominik Szoboszlai also joined the lively discussion on the CBS Sports panel regarding the squad's views on the defender-turned-TV pundit. Since hanging up his boots, Carragher has taken on a role as a pundit for Sky Sports. He often analyses Liverpool's performances on air and in post-match shows. They have been primarily positive until a recent challenging spell. However, the Reds have bounced back with 2 victories and 2 clean sheets in their last 2 matches, reigniting hope among the Anfield faithful. Carragher was present at L4 to witness Liverpool beat Real Madrid, and for the second consecutive season, with Alexis Mac Allister's header making the difference. The Argentine's goal just past the hour mark shattered Madrid's defense, after another outstanding performance from goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois. In a lighter moment away from discussions about tactics, philosophy and individual form, CBS Sports caught up with both Slot and Szoboszlai after a significant victory for the current generation of Liverpool stars. The panel's burning question centered on whether the Reds' dressing room holds affection for the former Champions League winning defender. It follows. Virgil van Dijk's ongoing public exchange with Manchester United and England legend Wayne Rooney, which entered its third and potentially final installment on Tuesday. The Hungarian, however, remained diplomatic when answering alongside Carragher. He's popular everywhere, all around the world. I think you can't name anyone who doesn't like him. The pundit replied, that surprised you. Yet the characteristically sharp-witted Slot couldn't help delivering a retort to Carragher. He was asked the same question about Carragher regarding dressing room sentiment. Slot fired back. As a player or as a pundit? The room erupted in laughter before Slot, in turn, continued. Did you speak to one of our players because this is what our players say about Jamie as well? Not being a Premier League winner.